Hello, happy Thursday, everybody. Okay, so we're going to cover a couple things this week because we have a member who just started, and then we have those who have been, so this is your second week. Okay, so I wanted to go over protein, and I wanted to go over, I'm pulling up all of our questions in front of me, and I wanted to go over calories again a little bit. So, I just want to touch base on the calories portion. So again, we are trying to maintain a 500 calorie per day deficit minimum while still getting all of the nutrients that we need for our body to be healthy and strong and to repair ourselves after exercise. But I wanted us to focus on eating nutrient-dense foods because in a weight loss scenario, we're trying to get as much nutrition and as few calories as possible because our goal is to lower our mass. So we're wanting to create a consistent deficit daily. Now, I know calories adjust day to day, so we're going with averages. So if you're looking at what you average burn per week, which I love, makes it really easy, and they actually average it out for you. They'll put down your strain calories for each day, your total calories burned each day, and then it will tell you your average for the week. Well, that is kind of what you should be eating. So you should be eating 500 less than that number. And that's what we're doing with our calorie number. Our calculations are very general, they are very basic, and they are not exact to you. But they are generally pretty good. Now, if you have some sort of an app that can tell us what your calories are supposed to be, we can go with that instead of the calculation if they're way off. But generally, we see really good results with the calculations that we put into the program. So I do want you to pay attention to those. I want you to pay attention to your calories burned per day, average per week, and we want to eat 500 under that per day. The rest of the program is going to be built on making the calories that you eat as nutritious as possible so you're getting all of your vitamins and minerals and macros that you need to be able to perform at a high level and to maintain weight loss throughout the entire program. So there's that. And that's what our goal is with the calories. And so the main thing that we want to do through the week is for you guys to pay attention to how many calories you're eating per meal, kind of in just your general state. Like, you want to stay under that. We want to meet that calorie goal to see weight less, but it's also so that you can learn about you. So you can learn about what your body or what your habits have been doing. Do you notice that you consistently eat 600 calories for breakfast and your total calories per day are 1,200 calories, and then you're eating another 700 calories for dinner? Well, that looks like you're eating 1,300 calories per day, which is over what you need to be eating. So you're not going to lose weight, even though you're eating only twice a day. So I want you to take that premise and really apply it to what we're doing here. So there's that. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to go through the last week. We're going to kind of talk about what's been going on with questions and answers. Okay, so that was kind of addressing the calorie portion of our first week. I addressed some of the questions that the previous group had last week, and then now I'm going to move on to protein and the week 2 group. So I had asked you guys, what are the 5 top sources of protein that you enjoy, that you can work into your diet, that you utilize, that are convenient for you, that you enjoy eating, that it's not anything super stressful like me telling you you need to eat only chicken and fish. That's not the point here. The point is to build good habits with what you already like. So I apologize. I'm trying to figure out where to put this, but I'm at the office today. So, okay. So let's put you over here. So I do want to go over some of our programs here, or questions here. So I had seen like some of your guys' lists were a little bit iffy when it comes to protein. It seems that we're maybe not as familiar with what protein sources are. So I had potatoes and Brussels sprouts listed. Those we're going to calculate as carbs. Now, we're going to kind of separate our fruit and vegetables and our starches, as in we want our fruits and vegetables to come first, but we're going to talk about that next week during the carbs week. So Brussels sprouts, potatoes are not good sources of protein. They maybe have a max of 3 grams per serving, and the rest of it is carbohydrates and or fiber. So we're not gonna talk about those. But the eggs, chicken breast, salmon, Greek yogurt, we like the shrimp, the tuna, all of these things. You just want to have them as regular sources of each meal. So each meal, I want there to be a significant source of protein. Now, that does not mean that it needs to be a meat. It could be a Greek yogurt, or it could be a cottage cheese, or it could be a protein shake, or anything like that. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about high protein grains. So it's a great way to fill the gaps. So, also in beans. So if you, let's say you just cannot eat that much protein, which that's me. I cannot eat meat post-workout. I really don't like to. I would much rather have a protein shake or a lighter type of protein like a yogurt or something like that. That's just how my body is. So considering that, think about, like, let's say in your meals you cannot eat a ton of protein, but you do like grains. Let's think if we use a high protein grain like quinoa, and then we mix that with chicken, you're going to get a lot more protein than if you just do than if you do a different grain like a white rice. That's going to be a little bit less in protein. So do know that you can mix and match your other protein sources with, say, your chicken and still meet your number, because your quinoa can have up to 10 grams of protein per serving, just depending on what strain that you're eating. So just know that there are other ways to get that. Beans are a great source of protein and fiber, so they're a good blend. I just want you to think about complete proteins. That's a whole nother thread that we should go through. So each protein has its own amino acid profile. Amino acids are what proteins are made of. Amino acids are what your body uses to develop muscle tissue, to repair and to build. Now, just so you know, muscle is what raises your metabolic rate. So if you're wanting to be able to eat more food but still lose weight, one way to do that is to build muscle. I have a very high metabolic rate, and part of the reason of that is because I do have a large percentage of muscle for my current body weight. So using that information, each type of protein has its own proprietary grouping of amino acids, so its own amino acid profile. You want to mix and match proteins as much as possible so that you can get a full amino acid profile. You want to be able to have as many of those amino acids to have as complete development and repair as possible. Just touching base, if you are incredibly sore after working out, or if you get a lot of adhesions, i.e. like the little knots in your muscles, and you're not like, muscles should be spongy. So if it's not, you may not be giving your muscles everything that they need to be repaired properly. So you may not be getting full amino acid profiles. You may not be drinking enough water. You may not be getting enough carbs. There's a lot of reasons, but since we're talking about protein this week, we're going to talk about protein. So when you're not getting enough protein, meaning you're not getting it often enough. So if you're not eating every 2 to 4 hours, what your body can do is go into repair mode, and then it will repair your muscle with whatever it kind of has, which is extra, which is what those adhesions are. That's scar tissue. So I'll give you an example. So your muscles are supposed to move like this, like they glide, right? When they contract and they expand. Unhealthy muscle with adhesions will kind of, like the tissue that they fill it with, that they repair your muscles with, is not smooth, healthy muscle. It's knotted up, it's missing parts, it's not complete. So you have knots. So now your muscle moves like this, which also contributes to chronic tightness of your muscles. So you do want to look at that, and mainly that's just because it doesn't have a whole lot of space to move around in. So I did want to talk about that. You are able to, like, surf and turf. If you do chicken and steak, if you do beans and like a bean salad and then chicken, or a quinoa with a salmon, you're going to have a complete amino acid profile. All of these protein sources have enough protein, have enough amino acids to complete almost every single other type of protein. Also, now your only complete proteins are eggs and whey protein. Those are the only ones that have a complete head to toe full amino acid profile. So you do want to mix those in every now and then because that'll give you a complete just shot of amino acids. So I always recommend trying to get a protein shake maybe a lunch. I love complete food more, but there are so many great protein powders out there that it's pretty much the same thing. I personally use Vega 1 because it's a complete protein, and it also has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, and it comes from vegetarian sources, so it does tend to be easier on my stomach. I also use egg white protein. I mix that in as well. If one runs out and I have another one. But you have egg white protein powder that comes in a lot of flavors. Just be careful, it's a tiny bit salty. And then they also have beef protein that comes in flavors like chocolate and vanilla and berry and all of that stuff. I personally have never drank beef protein, so I don't know how it blends and everything, but it's out there and it's usable. And then you also have other types of protein powders, there was one interesting one that I saw, might have been an oat milk one. But anyway, there's a whole bunch. Just go on to Amazon and search for protein drinks and you will find all sorts of them. And they're good to keep around in a pinch. They're also a really good source of a complete amino acid profile. So you really can't get that in all sources of protein. So I do want you to include those every now and then. Definitely stick as much as you can to whole foods, but do remember that you have these options to get your protein without it necessarily being meat-based. Okay, so somebody asked, how about beef? Well, the thing with beef is that it tastes better when it has more fat. So the cuts that the people like the most, for example, I love ribeye. That is going to be very high in fat, so it's going to really throw your macros off. We're going to talk more about that during the fat week, but I do want you to stick to leaner pieces of beef when you're talking about getting your protein sources. Okay, so then Jen said that she was going to be eating eggs, chicken, beans, salmon, extra lean beef, and chia seeds. Now, I did want to touch base on chia seeds just a little bit. Chia seeds we're going to classify that in kind of the same realm as peanut butter. It has a lot of fat, and it has really good fats in it that your body utilizes for a lot of processes. But here's the thing, is that it has very little protein compared to fat. It only has 4 grams of protein per serving, while it has 9 grams of fat per serving. So if you look at me, I am an athlete. Well, a lot of my meals only require 10 grams of protein. That would be like a couple spoonfuls of chia seeds, and I would hit that. And I would get very little protein because of it. So we're going to classify those as a fat with a bonus of protein, right? So if you need extra extra fat in a meal, you'll scoop in some chia seeds and then we got extra protein, yay. But we're not going to classify that as a significant protein source. So when I say your meal needs a significant protein source, that is what I mean. It needs to be primarily protein with very little carbs, very little fat. Okay, so let's see. Ashley had really good choices. Here's another thing, is identifying one really key aspect of success is identifying your weaknesses. So Ashley knows that she struggles with cooking. She doesn't want to do it, but she knows she has to. But to make it simpler for her, she tends to cook enough to last her 2 or 3 days so that she doesn't get sick of it, because she also knows that she gets sick of the same food all the time. So go ahead and identify what it is that you can and cannot do, what you do and do not like, what is within your scope, what will improve your life rather than frustrate it or make it worse. And that's what I want you to do. Okay. And that's really the key. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're working through this with each other and finding tips among each other, because I know everybody has a different lifestyle and different tools and different experiences and different skills. So that's why we do this in a group setting, so you guys can learn from each other. It looks like Lisa likes to cook her protein in avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil. She likes to bake protein or grill it. I love grilling meat. I feel like every meat is better grilled, even chicken, which I'm not a fan of chicken, but it has to be prepared a certain way, and grilling is one of the ways to get me to eat it. Jen likes to use her slow cooker. She likes to mix greens in her scrambled eggs. It's great. Awesome. Mandy says she tries to prepare extra chicken or ground turkey so she has good protein sources and she keeps them around, which is great. You always want to kind of have like ready kind of stuff ready all the time. At least that's my experience. I prefer food cooked fresh, but I've noticed that if I can keep certain aspects to make components of different things, like if I grill chicken and then I keep it, I can like chop it up and put it on quinoa or on a salad or something like that. So I always have sources. But yeah, I really love seeing your guys' participation. I love seeing your guys' ideas. I love being able to communicate with you. So maybe we can help you work through some things that you may not be really comfortable with yet. So I want everybody to keep on doing that. But that is kind of it. It's kind of what we're doing today. So I'm super, super, super excited. I feel like you guys are making a lot of progress, and I feel like you're learning a lot. And not only from me and not only from the program, but from each other. And I love that. So keep the questions coming, and we'll do the same thing next week. Sorry this wasn't a Zoom video. Zoom was being strange, and we're just having technical difficulties, I guess, anyway. But next week should be fine. But I just didn't have the time to deal with it at the moment. So I figured I would just record a video so I can get something out to you. But yeah, that's that. Anyway, keep everything coming. Keep communicating, and we'll try to make this as fun and as simple a process as possible. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.